Is Sweden joining forces with the European Union to launch a strong counterattack against Donald Trump's latest tariffs? New reports indicate that this silent powerhouse in the north refuses to remain passive, while U.S. tariffs on steel and aluminum, along with strict rules for cars, have rattled Europe. Excitement is growing. The Swedish signal of readiness is echoing louder than ever. From Volvo to Scania, from advanced tech companies to breakthroughs in life sciences, Swedish businesses shine. Their global success story is admired around the world. But might Trump's new tariffs completely flip this well-known narrative? Or will Sweden and Europe unite to stand strong against American policies? The future remains uncertain, yet hope continues to rise. Welcome to our channel. If you appreciate our video, please do not forget to subscribe, turn on your notifications, and like this video. What you're about to see and learn shows how the lands of the North are bracing for big changes and what policies the Trump team plans to push forward. Let's dive right in. Many analysts aren't shocked that Sweden has chosen to join forces with its European neighbors. Sweden stands firmly for open trade and a world where borders blur in business. Its economy, built on exporting, sends a large chunk of its products to the American market. Known for leading industries like cars, medicine, machinery, and health research, Sweden really doesn't want any extra problems with the United States. Yet, Trump's America First catchphrase and the new charges on goods have pushed Stockholm's leaders to join Europe's united response. So, how wide-ranging might this countermove be? Reports now say Sweden is gearing up not just for extra fees on metals like steel and aluminum, but also on key areas, including car manufacturing and home appliances. At a recent top-level meeting, U.S. President Donald Trump declared his plan to slap a 25% fee on European goods. We've decided, and you'll hear about it soon. 25%, he announced. Swedish official Benjamin Dusa, in charge of international trade and development, stated that tariff battles benefit no one. He added, charging extra fees is a worrisome step. Dusa stressed that Sweden is dedicated to working inside the European framework to create a fair response. We'll react in a way that's right and balanced, he said. For Sweden, it's crucial that any steps taken with Europe are fair and protect the nation's own interests. Our government talks regularly with the EU Commission, Swedish businesses, and other EU members, Dusa explained. Meanwhile, Swedish companies are already planning for what might come. They're asking, what if extra fees really hit our shipping and supply plans? According to Business Sweden, big names like Volvo, Scania, and SKF are having quiet talks with American clients to sort out future steps. But another question remains: how will the Nordic neighbors fare if the EU fires back with a raft of tariffs? Could Sweden spin this tricky moment into a golden chance? Some believe that Sweden has been exploring other markets for years, while interest in Swedish technology is booming in Asia. Scandinavian innovation is catching on in places as far-flung as the Gulf region and Africa. In simple terms, even if U.S. tensions rise, new doors could open by looking around the globe. Yet, skeptics wonder if this plan is realistic. After all, America still stands as a massive market. Sweden and the U.S. have enjoyed a long, healthy trading relationship, especially in areas like car making and high-end engineering. Remember, Volvo has even tailored special car models just for American tastes, and IKEA has always been a hit. Could these fresh trade charges really put an end to such close ties? Officials in the European Union have already hinted that if Trump's team follows through with the fees, a list of countermeasures will be ready. Swedish trade leaders insist that all reasonable options are still on the table. Even so, government figures in Sweden are working hard to show the world that they have no plans to pull their science and tech investments out of the United States. They say, "We're as safe as ever for smart investments in tech and research. We remain a calm economy and a hub for new ideas," they assert. "And Trump's moves won't knock us off our path." But will these reassurances win over the U.S. side? Rumors are swirling about a second wave of even tougher policies from Trump. There's a worry that steep fees, especially on cars, could shake Europe, with countries like Germany particularly on edge. In this high-stakes scenario, Sweden might seem small, yet it plays a key role because of its reach in making cars, spare parts, and advanced tech. Even though its economy isn't as large as Germany's within the automotive world, Sweden punches above its weight thanks to clever innovations and a respected brand. So, will the Swedish giants in car making and engineering lead Europe's united front? Imagine if Washington decides to crank up the tariff walls, and many experts say that the European Union is ready to push back with a response just as tough. They're busy putting together a list of countermeasures that covers everything from farm produce, wines, and fabrics to the digital services provided by technology companies. Right now, it's still a bit of a mystery where Sweden will step in. Some believe that if European businesses pull out of the United States, Sweden might look more toward Asia and the Middle East instead. In those far-off regions, fresh trade deals, especially in the car industry, could become a big win. But of course, nothing is ever that simple. Think about big names like Volvo and Scania. Would they really risk giving up the US market? That question baffles many. On another front, there's a whole different story unfolding in the world of health and medicine. Swedish ministers insist that no matter how harsh Trump's tariffs become, Sweden will stay a secure and inviting place for investments in health technology and biotech. This strong assurance might make international investors wonder if Sweden's reply to these tariffs and taxes will be a softer touch. After all, the life sciences and pharmaceutical fields work closely with research hubs in America. So, if this trade battle heats up, even clinical trials and the exchange of medical products could take a hit. Sweden is determined to defend itself by promising a stable and welcoming business climate, a guarantee of long-term safety. But just how much protection can these words offer against what the U.S. might do when a wave of protectionism sweeps through the economy? The automotive sector is usually the first to feel the pinch. Even tariffs on steel and aluminum can bounce back, raising the cost of making cars and squeezing producers' profits. Although these so-called Trump 2.0 tariffs haven't fully kicked in yet, there's already a buzz of worry in Europe. Well-known brands like Volvo and Saab are crunching numbers, trying to figure out how they might cover for a potential drop in the U.S. market. If the European Union bands together for a joint response, it seems unlikely that Sweden would choose a solo path. Politically, Sweden must show, we're in this together with the EU, because no one wants Brussels to think that Sweden is sitting out. Still, behind the scenes, there are likely quiet discussions happening. Some insiders say Sweden is keen on preserving friendly ties with the US, even while publicly supporting the EU's unified approach. Could this standoff end up harming both sides? If a fresh trade war ignites between the EU and the US, analysts warn that everyone will pay the price. The European car industry relies heavily on US sales, and big American tech and farming companies also depend on the European market. Even smaller, high-tech economies like Sweden would end up taking a hit. In the worst-case scenario, European companies might shift production out of the US, while American companies scramble to find new markets away from Europe. This kind of upheaval could throw global supply chains into chaos, adding extra costs and making things less efficient. What would that mean? Prices for everyday goods could rise, economic growth might slow down, and trade between nations could shrink. In short, no one wins. Though some believe there might be hidden opportunities in the mix, some experts argue that Sweden could take a leadership role in carving out new markets away from the US by breaking new ground in advanced engineering and green technologies. Perhaps this crisis could spark a boom in Sweden's startup world, opening doors in other regions. Look at Asia. Its rising economies are hungry for eco-friendly innovations. Africa is buzzing with new infrastructure projects, and the Middle East is pouring resources into digital upgrades. Swedish companies might decide, if the US market turns rocky, let's focus on Asia and Africa instead. Still, there are plenty of voices arguing that replacing the vast American market isn't an easy task. Abandoning a huge consumer base isn't something any country takes lightly. That's why Sweden's government speaks with both a firm tone and a call for dialogue. On one hand, they're all in for a coordinated EU retaliation, and on the other, they're keen to maintain long-term strategic links with the United States. The message is clear. Sweden isn't eager to start a full-blown trade war, but if it comes down to it, they'll stand with the EU against sanctions. After all, if Sweden doesn't stick with its European partners, it risks being left alone, an outcome Brussels would never want after Brexit. This decision to join forces with the EU isn't just about economics. It's also a smart political move. And as for keeping a door open with the US, only time will tell how that balance is managed. Trump's team is known for its tough stance, but at the end of the day, trade wars tend to hurt everyone involved. There's still a chance that Washington could strike a new deal with the EU, and if that happens, Sweden might finally get a break from the heated exchange of retaliatory measures. And it's not just about the automotive or metal sectors. In today's post-pandemic world, where supply chains are being rebuilt and the importance of medical and technological products has surged, Sweden finds itself at an advantage. The country is well known for its strong commitment to research and development. Competition is fierce between the EU and the US, especially when it comes to tackling issues like an aging population, digital health solutions, and vaccine technology. If this competition avoids falling into the trap of political squabbles, Sweden would love to work with both sides for a win-win outcome. But if protectionist pressures grow, there might come a point when countries are forced to choose sides. So, what should a champion of free trade like Sweden do when faced with this dilemma? Where might this whole confrontation lead? Is the Swedish government really ready to jump into an all-out tariff battle with the EU against the US? Or is this just tough talk meant to intimidate? What about the big names in car manufacturing and engineering? How will they reposition themselves amid all this tension? And what impact will these dynamics have on global markets? We'd love to know what you think. Will Trump 2.0 tariffs rock Europe once more? Do you believe trade wars will become a permanent feature, Or is there still hope for finding middle ground? Thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can join our discussion by subscribing to our channel, clicking the notification bell, and liking our video so you never miss the latest insights into these major global economic shifts. Enjoy and stay informed.